or opposite to the ways of the world. If you behave opposite to the normal way, because the saints do that way, well, you will have to be like saints first, who are opposite to the ways of the world, before you do so. Like the saints, you will have to go beyond all the duels. If you could give your all to Mahar's Mangs, that is your wife, children, wealth, etc., or you value them as if they are a mass of stones and soil, or you feel no difference between food and night soil, if you have forgotten your caste, creed and color, even your own body, you feel both the pleasure and pain to be the same, if you feel no difference between mine and thine, in other words, if you have transgressed all the Dvandvas and attained that one, the infinite bliss that is the state of a Satpurusha, then you can behave in any way you like with anybody. But if you behave as you like only when it suits you, that is, you assume the role of an Advaiti non-dualist. When it suits you, then you will have to pay for it. In the same way, the Mahars and the Mangs also have to behave as is laid down for them, otherwise they will also have to pay by going to still lower grades. It is like a criminal who absolves himself from his sins by undergoing punishment and becoming free. On the other hand, if he creates trouble while undergoing the punishment, he gets further punishment instead of getting free from it. In the same way, if the Mangs and Mahars behave as they are supposed to do, they attain a higher status in their ensuing birth. On the other hand, if they behave in a wrong way, they will have to go down to still lower grades. There is a saying, Vinashke Viparita Buddhi, meaning, at the time of destruction, a person's reasoning becomes faulty and decides in a wrong way. One has to behave opposite to the common ways of the world while on the spiritual path, but this cannot be done without the express order of the Sadguru. When one behaves in the opposite fashion in accordance with the orders of the Sadguru, it is naturally helpful in the attainment of godhood. I have already compared Manga with God. The Satpurushas also remain beyond their body, and as such they are also like Manga, Mahars and Bangis. They generally stay beyond the body, but when they want to talk to you, then they descend to the consciousness of the body and talk to you. Having attained the formless state, they continuously remain in that state. Prior to its appearance, the body was in a formless state. To experience itself, the formless appeared into a form. Having attained the form, the jiva exerts to go beyond it, and attains once again the original formless state and enjoys that state while in the body, that is, he has attained the state of Manga, a person without a body. The present Mangs, however, do not experience their bodiless state. According to the will of God, their only duty is to absolve others from sins. They do not, however, experience their real formless state, since God has given that duty to them. Through that duty they attain godhood, but they have to try for it bit by bit according to their environment. If a Mang experiences his formless state, that is, has become a Satpurusha, one could associate with him. It would not then be a faulty action. If he attains that state, he will have lived up to his name of Manga. Right in the beginning, those that were set aside for absolving others' sins were called Mangs. In due course, that duty fell on their descendants. Those Mangs who would still behave according to their name will be like Satpurushas. A Satpurusha, having attained the formless state, is a Manga. If such a Manga, that is a Satpurusha, is associated with, is worshipped, is given dana, then one attains punya. If, however, one associates with the present Mahars and Mangs, he will be behaving against the injunctions, and instead of attaining infinite bliss, he will have to go to the lower states. In a Satpurusha, the Mahars, Mangs, Bangis, etc., i.e., all those who are able to absolve others from sins, are included. A Satpurusha, who has gone beyond all the duels, who has gone beyond good and bad, is neither a Manga, a Mahara, a Brahmana, a Shudra, nor a bird, a beast, or anything visible or invisible that is formful and formless in this world. A person who has reached such a state alone is a Satpurusha. In him not only Mahars and Mangs are included, but the whole world lies within him. A Satpurusha also absolves all others from the sins, and hence Shastras do not object to anybody associating with him. Shastras cannot control a Satpurusha, he has gone beyond them. Shastras and their regulations are meant for those who have not attained the state of a Satpurusha, and hence common people should associate with Mahars and Mangs only according to the instructions laid down by the Shastras. These lower caste people stay on the outskirts of a town. The Satpurushas also stay where bodies are disposed of after death, that is, in cremation grounds and burial places. Perhaps God treats the Satpurushas as monks, and hence he arranges for their stay in such places. All things with forms collect together to form a town or a village, etc., while outside them is the place for formless things, or for things to be formless. The huts of Mahars and Mangs are worth nothing compared to the houses in the town, and are all situated on the outskirts of a town. Because Satpurushas are Mahars and Mangs, etc., they also stay outside the town. While staying outside like that, they pervade the whole world. Really speaking, the Satpurushas are always beyond the world and enter into it only when necessary. In the same way, the Mahars, etc., stay outside a town and enter it only when necessary. A person who has reached the state of Mang should be worshipped, praised, served, etc. Such a Mang is entitled to receive all dirty, sinful things. Whatever you call sinful has to be offered during the eclipse. The moment you think of punya, the papa is there. When you forget punya, the opposite state automatically becomes non-existent. It is like when you accept food, the night soil is there, to enable oneself to go beyond both, that is, beyond all the dvanvas, all objects of desire and enjoyment, that lead to papa and punya, have to be offered to a Satpurusha who has attained the formless state. From the time the eclipse starts till it ends, if a person does the japa of a mantra, or sings bhajana, while doing his pradakshinas around one of the sanctified trees, he attains the punya of having done a purascharana, or having done that virtuous act for many a life. Of course, you have to take a bath in the beginning, and it is considered of great importance to do all that throughout the eclipse period with wet clothes on. In the end, again, a bath has to be taken. If this does not become possible, then you can sit under a tree for a while, do pradakshinas for a time, take a bath at the end and do some pradakshinas again. I do not ask you to do this way. My business is only to tell what is beneficial. To do or not to do is your own affair entirely. During the eclipse period, one can go beyond the state of the sun. Just as the jiva is related to this globe, it is equally related to stars, planets, etc. It is essential for the jiva to transgress, psychically or spiritually, the ambit of the sun. The eclipse of the sun is an occasion which has great significance from this point of view. The eclipse of the moon also has the same significance. I have already told the story of the moving temple. During the eclipse period, all the doors of that temple come in a straight line. The temple itself becomes steady, and anybody can enter it and see God. 1. God through darkness. 2. Simple method of dhyana. 3. Devotion, the remedy for all ailments. 4. Result of faithful behavior. 5. Loss of pride leads to supernatural power. 6. Matra. God is seen in darkness alone. Those that are desirous of seeing God sit in darkness, in solitude, and do dhyana dharana with their eyes closed, and while in this state, if no thought pertaining to the worldly life crosses the mind, one is able to have darshana, vision of God. Utter darkness, impenetrable darkness, is the first form of God. A person who becomes one with this darkness can alone get the darshana of that self-luminous, dhyana rupa God. One of the saints has said, Vina Guru Gora Andhara, Na Prabhuka Rupa Darasai. It means that without utter darkness, God cannot be seen, or God cannot be seen unless you become one with Guru, whose form is utter darkness. Utter darkness means the state of complete ignorance pertaining to the world. When Sadguru Kripa is attained, one gets dhyana. By this is meant the state of not knowing anything. Thus, only nothing that is complete darkness is experienced first. This has also been my experience. It is through that darkness that one is able to have the darshana of the self-luminous God. It is essential to try and see God in darkness. What can you see in light? All round you see houses, trees, birds, etc. In other words, all objects of desire, passion, and enjoyment, that is, all the worldly objects are seen in light. What else do we see? Tell me if you do. A person who has accumulated plenty of punya to his credit is able to see in darkness or in light, while awake or in dreams or in his last moments, a saint or God before him. Some of them actually experience conversing with them. Those that are always doing satkarmas are able to experience many such inspiring visions. Those that are sinful and go on committing sins, on the other hand, get painful, ugly, wicked visions in their wakeful or dreamy state, or in their last moments, appearing before them. Two together create a third. What is the third you would create? It is a photograph. But since I and you are both Chaitanya Rupa, how can you create something inanimate out of us? The husband and wife come together and create an animate child. In the same way, both of us being animated in nature, you must be able to produce an animate photograph, then alone you can be called as a real photographer. You can photograph anything of the world on paper. You photographed me on Sankranta Day. You took me to be your wife then, but that photograph you produced was inanimate. You should now photograph me in such a way that you will be able to produce an animate picture, just as you take me on paper through your camera. You should imprint me on your heart, and that will give you an animate picture. Your body is the camera, your eyes are the lens, and with their help you should take my photo on your heart. The camera you use is inanimate, and hence it gives rise to an inanimate photograph. If you take your body as the camera, then you will be able to produce an animate picture. You should always try to have such animate picture in your heart by means of dhyana, and take his darshana. I will tell you a simple method of achieving this. Having